All right. A very good morning to you. What a beautiful way to start the day. The sun is shining bright. It is another beautiful week of February 2026, the second week, and of course, 3 days to Valentine's Day. For those who are in love, for the rest of us, please post it until we cry, until we learn how to talk to men or learn how to treat women right. My name is Anyango, Sylvia. Welcome to Biashara Tuesday on this 10th day of February 2026, where we have a lot packed for you this morning. And you know, when it's Biashara Tuesday, it's all about money. It's all about businesses. It's all about making you a better entrepreneur. It's all about making you the best version of yourself, even as you strive to, find the money to live your means. They say that sometimes you don't need to live within your means. You need to afford your lifestyle. So this is a show that helps you get into that phase where, of course, you can afford your lifestyle. And this morning, the conversations that we are having are centered on tourism and, of course, business. So the first segment will be talking about business. How can you survive this current generation or the marketplace at this point in time, that is as of 2026, with the current, fiscal changes and all that, all these new reforms that are being made in the country, favoring your business or not favoring your business. Today is a day where we're about to talk about them. And to help us understand this discussion will be CPA Patrick Odhiambo, who has been in the industry of auditing, of course, for the past 6 years and more. And he'll be helping us understand building a financially sustainable business, what every Kenyan entrepreneur should get right. And of course, he'll also be telling us why businesses fail within the first 2 years. What is the reason for the failure? Why many people or many accountants end up behind bars or mnavutana na KRA because, maybe you didn't file your returns, maybe you didn't understand when your business needed to have a certified accountant for that matter, or when your business needed professional attention for that matter. It'll be helping us understand when is the right time to get professionals in your business in order to avoid, failures in business. And of course, the main thing that he will be helping us talk about this morning, it will be that what we need to focus on in our businesses, it shouldn't be about it shouldn't be about growth, but it should be about survival first. So that is what we are talking about this morning on the first launch. On the second launch, of course, we'll be joined by Dr. Albert Shege, who is a senior lecturer here at Kenyatta University, and the discussion will be centered about tourism resilience, the crisis policy, and the future of Kenya's tourism. And of course, Dr. Albert is the Director of Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management East Africa, which is centered right here in Kenyatta University. And of course, this is just a precursor of what will be happening next week from the 16th of February to the 18th of February at KICC. And the discussion or the conference will bring forth leaders from across the globe for the tourism, or for them to discuss or find ways in which we can be ready as a continent, as a nation, as a region, to embrace tourism in the coming days, so that we may not be in shocks as we were in the period of the pandemic, that is the 2020 pandemic, or in instances where we are having, policy issues, what reforms we need to make. And of course, we'll also be talking about what are our areas of focus as a nation that we need to put forward. For the longest time, we've been talking about, the big five, the Mara, but we are a whole package. Just the city vibe of only is enough to be a tourist destination right here in the capital. So we'll also be looking at areas where, of course, as a country, we can focus on in order to increase our tourist influx in the country. And of course, we'll be reminding you of how resilience is an economic strategy and not a seminar theme. That is the discussion that we'll be having on the launch this morning. So those are the discussions that are packed for you. So if you're having any questions, regarding the topics that we have mentioned, that is on business, and of course on tourism, you can send us those questions, and trust you, we are going to be asking them on your behalf to our guest in studio. Those questions, you can send them on our YouTube platform. We are live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya. And of course, we need to talk about what is happening in the country, and this is with the newspapers this morning. Let's begin with MyGov, where they're talking of state shifts to Naivasha Depot to decongest Mombasa Port. That is on business. Moving on to a different newspaper this morning, we have the Financial Standard, where they're talking of state seeks new revenue as road levy fund dims. And this is in relation to maintenance of our road and different infrastructure. And looking at a different newspaper, we have the Business Daily, which is talking of Google rejects 61% of Kenya's censorship asks. And this is wamesema we are not going to accept all of them. They rejected around 26 of them to the total that are presented. And also a good news that you need to note on the Business Daily is that the Nairobi Security Exchange starts buying, selling shares directly via M-Pesa. So in the coming months or in the coming days, this is effective today, that you will be able to buy shares with different companies on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. So this is going to cut the stockbrokers that have always been facilitating the buying and selling of shares. And the deduction of 100 shillings every time you're buying or selling shares. So at this time, it's a relief. It's good news because you will be able to get your shares or buy or sell them directly from your M-Pesa. The Standard is talking about trained savages, and this is in relation to the death of Cheryl, who was shot in Huruma following the pursuit of the gangs that attacked a gentleman over the weekend. And this story has sparked outrage all over the country. A number of reported cases where police officers shoot civilians, and they are asking a question on whether the police officer undergo training. And they're saying that at a time the family of killed KMTC student is seeking answers. The police in a statement, rather than give assurance, reveal the colonies with which it treats human life in an outrageous turn. It seemed to blame residents for the death, which points to remorseless service unable to tame officers thirsty for the next drop of blood. That is just a complaint that is given to the police officers failing to protect civilians. And of course, moving on to the People Daily. The People Daily is a little bit political today. They're talking of, will these camps make Ruto a one-term president? And this, of course, is the united opposition, and joining them are the ODM faction that is not in support of the president or the UDA government. And these include Orengo, Sifuna, Babu Owino, and that brigade. And they are asking that will these camps make President Ruto a one-term president? You know how difficult it is to get a sitting president out of office, despite the fact that for the past, I think, 3 elections where we had presidents sitting in office, from Kibaki to Uhuru, we've had cases of, theft of the elections. So is it that this might be a tumbo joto for President William Ruto? Because clearly it is not easy to get a sitting president out of office for reasons known to you as a Kenyan citizen, because all the presidents who have been in office and wanted to come back in power, we've witnessed cases of theft of votes. So is it really difficult to get a sitting president out of office, or is it just that they are in control of government resources and that's making them easy for them to come back to office? And they're also talking of an interesting story at the upper left. They're talking of governors accuse 4 senators of extortion, boycott hearing in power standoff. And this, governors were having their meeting in the coastal region yesterday, and they were talking of senators. They're accusing senators of extortion, intimidation, and harassment once they present their issues, or during grilling for that matter. in terms of accountability on county funds. And they're saying if that is not resolved, they will not attend Senate sittings, and especially this is the parliamentary accounts committees. They will not attend that. And on the other hand, the senators have said that, you know what, if you're not going to be attending these sittings or these meetings, then we will not be able to give you funds, because if you cannot account for the funds that you're spending, that means that you don't deserve the funds. And the questions that surround governors, like purchasing of Christmas trees worth millions of shillings, markets, or paying bodabodas to attend functions of the county worth millions of shillings. We know how governors have been diverting funds in this country, and that is a question that it's now a standoff between senators and governors. And another story they're talking of is why the government is silent on citizens killed in Ukraine wars. And of course, moving on to Taifa Leo, they're talking of siasa za kukurukakara. Siasa za kurukaruka. Samahani, siasa za kurukaruka za rejea. And they have given faces of politicians who are shifting from one political party to another. They are the likes of Sabina Chege. These are politicians who are moving from one political party to another. And now the new directive, or what they're calling on, if you're shifting from one party to another, then you need to entirely move your name, or remove yourself from one party as a member and register to the next party as a member, so that even as you do your campaigns, you do them in a different party that you're in at the moment. So that is what they're talking about on Taifa Leo. Also, the story of serikali yatoa bilioni 4 kuokoa waathiriwa wa ukame. And right now, it's a total of 10.1 billion, because yesterday we had the release of 4.1 billion to cater for, drought situation, especially in the northern part of the country, where they're experiencing severe droughts. And of course, what the weatherman is saying, that the country might be experiencing short rains, and this will in turn affect more family or more households to hunger issues by the time we get to June, July. And at the moment, plus the 6 billion that was released in December last year, plus the 4.1 billion that is released this year, the country, or the government, has released 10.1 billion to cater for the drought conditions in the northern part of Kenya especially. And the question is not just about what is given to cater for this, because sometimes giving someone fish is not sustainable, but teaching a man how to fish is what is sustainable. I tend to believe that this country has really politicized the issue of drought and hunger in the northern part of the country, because due to devolution, these regions receive more money compared to other regions. So why is it that for the longest time we've had questions of why dams are not constructed, why schools are not constructed, why health facilities are not constructed? So that is on Taifa Leo. And also another story that is given prominence on the same, that Ruto ashtakiwa kuandaa hafla za UDA Ikulu. And this is a petition that is filed so that the president is not allowed to use government funds to run election campaigns and the sort, or engaging in political narratives or meetings in the State House. So that is a petition that is filed to bar President William Ruto from engaging in politics, or from using government resources in political issues. And of course, moving on, still on Taifa Leo, there are several stories. They have given prominence to several stories there. In sports, wanasema Arsenal tunawacheki, Pep atishia, Aipoa yaanza kuchunguza mauaji ya Huruma, alafu pia majonzi, wana wanne wa familia moja wakifa katika Timbo, that is in Akwari, where 4 sons of the same family perished in Akwari. And moving on, of course, to the Daily Nation, they've given prominence to the governor and senator standoffs, where they're saying governors defy Senate amid bribery scandal. And let's just call it a rumor, where the governors say, one of the governors said that he was asked up to 9 million Kenyan shillings. akaambiwa kama utoe hii kidogo utakuwa mashakani. And this is what governors are denying. And of course this is also something that the president has said, that the parliament of Kenya, the Senate and of course the National Assembly, they are a bribe hub. So lisemwalo lipo, kama halipo laja. That is on the Daily Nation. And they've also talked about the 4 brothers who perished in a quarry. That story is also on the Daily Nation. Moving on to the Star, which is, of course, they say it is fresh, independent, and free, being a Tuesday. They're talking of make or break test for Kalonzo Rigathi in 2-day retreat. This is Matters Politics. And they're saying the team of expert to table formula, to table formula the group will use to take on Ruto. Of course, this is in relation to what we have seen in the country, the reshuffles in the Azimio coalition, and we've had different views where the opposition has, the president is saying that, without the ODM, Azimio is nothing. And the opposition, on the other hand, are saying, which ODM are you talking about? Is it the ODM that the brain is in State House, or the Sifuna-led brigade? The opposition ODM. So which ODM are you talking about? Gachagua is saying that ODM is dead because it is divided. And there are also those who are saying that, the Sifuna-led brigade is sponsored by Uhuru Kenyatta to divide the ODM. And we shall be seeing a lot this week, because we had the former SG and currently cabinet secretary for treasury saying that Sifuna is defying the party and dividing the party, so he should be removed from the ODM party. So there's quite a lot that we're expecting this week in the world of politics. Just months, or a year in some months, to 10th of August 2027, when we shall be having general elections. That is on the Star. Other stories given prominence is survivor of HIV, cervical and colon cancer, Vivian's journey through 13 surgeries. This is it's a feature there that covers Vivian, who has HIV, cervical and colon cancer, who has undergone 13 surgeries. And also progress derailed, FGM tourism, fueling not ending the practice. That also will touch on the discussion that we shall be having on tourism. So those are the dailies, and of course just a quick overview of what is shaping the state of our nation currently. And on Matters Business, what you need to take note of is, if you're buying shares at the Nairobi Stock Exchange market, you will be able to buy or sell your shares without the stockbrokers via M-Pesa. So that is a reprieve for those who are investing in stocks. And also something to note is that you might think that this is not affecting you. The conversations on climate, you might think that it's not affecting you. But according to DTB, the report that they released is that the economy is to grow. They're projecting the economy to grow to up to 5% in the coming years, because of the focus on investment that rather than debt servicing. That is a positive trajectory in the country, where more people are taking loans to service their businesses rather than, to finance their lives. So that is to lead to a rise of 5%. But of course, there are limitations, because as the government strives to fill in the, deficit in the collections, they will be borrowing from the country, and of course that will reduce the amount to be borrowed, or the amount that is given to the local traders in the country. So that is something that should be an hindrance. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the issue on climate or drought, this is of course going to reduce the income that is directed to businesses. So that is of course expected to limit this growth that is projected by DTB, and this is according to the survey that was done. So that is on Matters Business, and how it will affect you as a Kenyan entrepreneur or someone who wants to invest. At this point, I want us to shift and take a look at what is happening, of course, on our roads and the weather situation across different cities in the country. Right, it is exactly 37 minutes past the hour, that is past 7 a.m. And I'm looking at different tributaries leading to Nairobi Central Business District. And today, I'm sorry to say, but today is not a good day for those who are going to town at this moment. It might ease in later on. But looking at the traffic situation, I'm seeing stretches of red in different roads across Nairobi. And to begin with, the Eastern Bypass, cutting to Embakasi, of course to Ruai, Utawala, there is a very long stretch of red, especially from Utawala all the way to, is it GM? Around as you're approaching Mombasa Road. So if you're using that route, you're going to be staying on that route for quite some time. This is affecting those using the outer ring road, wale wa Mtindwa, Fedha. If you're using that route, you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. And as I mentioned, outer ring joining to Thika Road, especially those people who are using Thika Road today, I'm so sorry for you, because you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. That is from Kasarani or from Githurai all the way to Pangani interchange. There is a very long stretch of red. So you're going to be staying on that road for quite some time. And of course, those joining the route from Kiambu Road, you're also going to be staying on the route for quite some time. Those using Jogoo Road, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Those coming from that is from Bomas of Kenya kule juu wakiteremka kuingia in the city, Uhuru Gardens kuteremka chini all the way to that is Nyayo Stadium. If you're using that route, you're going to be staying on the route for quite some time. Those coming from Kibra, you're going to be staying on that route for quite some time. Those coming from Lavington, you're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. And those, of course, joining all the tributaries joining to Mombasa Road or the Nairobi Expressway, you're going to be staying on that route for quite some time. So today is not a good day for those going to town. That is at 7:40 a.m. because I'm looking at these roads, Spring Valley Road, those coming from, the Kitsuru, wale wanatoka this other side of town, Lower Kabete, joining, going to town, you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. So today, most of the road, of course, this is affecting also those coming from Runda, wale wa Muthaiga Village Market, you're also going to be staying on the road for quite some time. Today, there is no escape. So if you are on jam, just tulia and get to your favorite TV show as we get to inform you. Those coming from Westlands also, you're not left behind. You're going to be staying on the road for quite some time. It's good news for those who are working from home because you're going to be enjoying yourself for that matter. So that is on the traffic situation in different parts of Nairobi. It's not a good day this Tuesday, the 10th of February 2026. And of course, moving on to the weather situation in different parts of the country. Let's begin with the water bodies in the country. The coastal region, Kilifi, right now, it's at 25 degrees Celsius and it feels like it. And the temperatures are expected to be rising to 29 degrees Celsius. And throughout the day, 0% chances of precipitation. And it's and of course, because it's close to a water body, the humidity is at 87%. Another region close to a water body is, of course, the Nyanza region. Looking at Kisumu, right now it's 18 degrees Celsius and it feels like it. And the temperatures are expected to be rising to 26 degrees Celsius throughout the day. That is around the midday to around 4 p.m. And precipitation is at 5%. No, not 5%. Precipitation is at 10%. And humidity, of course, because it's around water body, the humidity is at 89%. In the Rift Valley region, that's Eldoret. Right now, it's 13 degrees Celsius. And of course, it feels like 12 degrees Celsius, quite low. The temperatures are expected to rise to 26 degrees Celsius. And precipitation at 5%, humidity at 83%. The northern part of the country, which you have said that it's experiencing a very high temperatures and of course drought and famine. Right now it's at 19 degrees Celsius at 7 a.m. 19 degrees Celsius. The temperature is expected to rise to 31 degrees Celsius, and precipitation, as expected, 0%. Humidity at 58%. That's quite dry. And right here in the capital, it's at 16 degrees Celsius, and temperatures are expected to rise to 27 degrees Celsius, and precipitation, of course, at 0%. Humidity at 74%. Taking a look at what the Kenya Met Department is telling us this morning of the weather outlook for the next 10 days from the 10th to the 16th of February 2026. They're saying that mostly sunny and dry conditions are expected over most parts of the country. However, rainfall is likely in some areas, particularly the Central Highlands, the Lake Victoria Basin, the Rift Valley, the southeastern lowlands, and western Kenya. That's on temperatures. On hot conditions, daytime maximum temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius are expected in several parts of the country, including the coast, the southeastern lowlands, the northeastern, and the northwestern Kenya. That's around the coastal region and, of course, the northern part of the country. Cool night temperatures, nighttime minimum temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius expected in parts of the Central Highlands, the Central Rift Valley, western Kenya, and areas near Mount Kilimanjaro. And on rainfall outlook, that is, they're talking of the past week where a few parts of the country recorded rainfall, and that is on the weather outlook, of course, for the next 7 days, and of course this day in several parts of the country. We are taking a very short break, and we'll be back with news updates.
Msimu mpya, uso mpya, nguvu mpya, bila shaka na ari mpya. Lakini dhamira ni ile ile. Kuboresha kilimo kwa maisha bora. Jiunge nami James Baraka na nahodha wako mpya wa kipindi cha Boresha Kilimo, tunapochunguza mbinu za kisasa za kilimo, ukipenda teknolojia ibuka katika kilimo, maoni ya wataalamu na hadithi za mafanikio kutoka kila pembe ya taifa. Kutoka kwa wakulima wadogo hadi biashara za kilimo zilizostawi, tunakuvika maarifa na suluhisho kamili, si tu za kuongeza mazao yako, bali pia kuimarisha maisha yako. Kila Jumamosi saa 6:30 na Jumanne saa 4 asubuhi, usipitwe na baraka za Boresha Kilimo, nami James Baraka, hapa hapa KUTV.
Are you ready to take charge of your health? Welcome to Focus on Health, your weekly guide to staying informed and living better. Join me every week as I sit down with trusted medical experts.
Gynecology is basically a field concerned with mainly the female genitalia.
Explore real-life stories
during when the patient come in,
and bring you updates and tips that are beneficial to your health. Because health isn't just important, it is everything. Tune in to Focus on Health every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. I'm your host, Kandia Marian, and I'll see you then.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wale hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili
bila woga. Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Ninakukaribisha rasmi kwenye Mitindo ya Kipwani, kipindi kinachokuza utamaduni wa Kipwani, nikikuletea mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja na wataalamu, vyakula vilivyopikwa na kukorombezwa, viungo mwake vya Kipwani, ngoma zetu za asilia za Kimijikenda, bila kusahau tarabu na chakacha. Yaani wanawake Uswahilini watakuwa wakinengua na kuzungusha viuno kama panga boy za trekta ndani ya Mitindo ya Kipwani KUTV, ukiletewa moja kwa moja kutoka Salama Bling Beach Resort kila Jumamosi saa 10 jioni na Jumapili saa 4 usiku, ukiwa nami mtamu wako zaidi ya asali. Mimi naitwa Waridi Tamu. Mpenzi mtazamaji, usipitwe na matamu.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila woga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi. Wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Alright, welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it KUTV Biashara Tuesday this morning. And we just had a number of updates for you that is in business and of course in the state of a nation. But at this point, I want us to take a look at what really transpired over the weekend or over the past days on innovation workshop. And this is a move that is meant to empower the young people, especially to create jobs for themselves rather than sitting behind and waiting for the government to create jobs for themselves. And Z Gitahi is one of the guests who was speaking during the workshop where young people were brought together for the innovation workshop. Let's take a look at what transpired during the workshop.
But if I'm going to Westlands, I can shoot for the stars. Depending on the demographic, where this woman is, what does she do? Does she care about wigs? I will call Makeup Cloud. I'll probably price them at 15K going down, right? But if I'm thinking about whatever package you have, how do you even approach them in terms of interviews? Most of you can probably just come in and conduct the interview. If I was targeting maybe 30 to 45-year-old people, I probably just have to schedule a virtual interview. because they're too busy, probably, right? So you see how this opens up your mind to the next phase, which is defining. So we already have our persona. Oops, skipped. Sorry. So we have our persona. Sorry, something is off with my presentation. Okay. So now we need to define. What was the problem we said earlier? The work is just too much. It's too far to access everything in the school, right? But that's still an assumption for you. Is it a problem for you, the long walk? Is it a problem for you? Is it a problem for you? Yes or no is fine. Yes? Is it a problem for you, lady in the brown hat at the back? The long walk? Yes, you. Tunaangaliana. You, in the yellow t-shirt and the brown cap. You kutembea kutoka gate hadi hapa ni kazi? Yes, okay. So I've done a simulation of interviews. You have to conduct research. When you're conducting research, you need to approach it from different perspectives. Now, because of time, I can't go through all of them. Do we know any basic research methods? Questionnaires. Interviews. I like how we are whispering. Another one. Surveys. And within the same category, we have online and physical. So you can still do questionnaires in person, like those guys in the malls who have papers, or you can send it through Google Forms, right? So it's almost like a survey. You can do interviews virtually, or you can do them in person. Now, I have do's and don'ts for in the event that you decide to proceed to confirm. Like, for example, what we've done right now. I've asked a few of you, do you have the same problem? Yes. Do you have the same problem? Yes. Now, there are do's and don'ts within doing your research. Okay? Number one, please don't ask less than 20 people. I push it to 30, honestly. But do not ask less than 20. Number two, please do not ask your friends and family. They will always be biased. Yeah, your day is great. Imagine, yeah, that's a problem, that's a problem. Funny enough, family are not the people who actually buy from me. It's strangers. And they don't ask for discounts or freebies. Strangers pay the full price, right? Now, always try to be open-minded to your idea being wrong. Don't be married to the idea. It's like, lazima ikuwe hii kitu. You have to be open to it. And how are you open? By asking open-ended questions. What I asked you guys was what we call close-ended questions. Do you find it a struggle? Yes or no. That's a close-ended question. Open-ended is, how do you get from gate A to here? Some of you will say, actually I have a car, I drive. Some of you will say, I walk. Some of you say, I ride a bike. Others say, I take Anduthi. Are there tuk-tuks here? No, okay. So now I've allowed myself to see, wait, out of my 20 people, kuna watu wako na magari, so isi shida yao sana. Kuna watu wako na bike, kuna watu wako na Anduthi, kuna watu hutembea. So watu wa kutembea ni wangapi? Do I need to expand my survey room to get more information? Because the last thing you want to do is start a business where only 5 people buy from you, right? So these are the basic do's and don'ts. Try and even mix it up. Some ni interviews, kuna wengine unafanya questionnaires, allows you to get as much information as possible. Then you analyze it, be able to define, I thought their problem was walking is hard for them. But is it really from the data I've collected? Is that the truth, right? Okay, I'm not saying no, tujafanya experiment. But this kind of questions and format of researching allows you to now confirm hii shida ni ya watu wana exist. Au watu wanaweza lipia hii kitu. Au watu wanaona yenyewe this is a problem that requires a solution. So before you do the definition, you first do empathizing. Now with the defining, please think about when you're asking your questions, you've collected the data. So now we're analyzing. Kuna watu hapa wamesema nyewe wanakapitia wakitembea, kuna watu wakapitia. Sindio? So now we're assessing what is the main problem from the pool of the 20 people I've collected information from. Is it that 15 out of 20 said, Rosafi, that walk is tough? And why did they say it is tough? You said the heat. For someone else, maybe it's just the walking. For someone else, just be something else. So you're assessing, number one, what is the main problem? They could list many problems, which is number one. And what is the pain associated with it? We talk about pains and gains when it comes to problem definition. Pain is, for example, I want to get from point A to B by use of private transport because I just don't like sharing seats with people. That's a personal pain, right? It's a bougie one, but it's a personal one. It's my pain. My gain would be maybe the comfort of sitting in a car without guzana na watu naitana beba wakinibia simu kwa mfuko, right? That's a personal gain. So every time you think about a problem, there's a pain, there's a frustration that comes with that issue. You get tired, you get hot, maybe you faint. That's a pain. Maybe the gain is something else, right? So when you're defining, we need to look at deeply what is the pain associated with the main problem. One, wheels, the basic steering seat belt hata ilikuja juzi, not juzi like last week, but you understand what I'm saying. Some didn't even have a proper windshield. It was unachapa tu na upepo as you drive. But the main thing was movement from point A to B. It wasn't fuel efficient movement. That is future thinking. But there was a problem that was innate to guys just want to move from point A to B in a simple format that's a bit quick, right? Then over time, as humans evolve, there's technology and adaptation. Now features start coming like, oh, guys need seatbelts because otherwise when you brake, people are flying out of the car. Or for example, now the different types of tires we have, guys are going off-road while others are city people. Oh wait, it's hot, you need AC. It's development of the same product over time because of adaptation and evolution. At the end of the day, it's rooted in still one problem. The problem has evolved. Yes, we solved a car, but now we need to solve AC, air. Now we need to solve safety belts. We need to solve comfort, padding, hizi vitu unaweza pinya alafu inakuwa moto unasikia nice, you get. But at the end of the day, when you're anticipating, you still need to root it at a very specifically defined problem. So is it Facebook or internet? At some point, people will need to communicate globally. So at the moment, is there a way people are already talking across the oceans? Letters. You see? It was an anticipation, but at the end of the day, still rooted in communication or maybe research, accessing books and libraries in Egypt, but I'm in Kenya. But now the internet facilitates that, right? But at that moment was accessing information rooted in other countries. Now, how do you solve it step by step to the point that as the car evolved, how can your product evolve eventually to be that thing you think will become an impact-based solution? So always root it in something. Try not to think so magnanimously. Oh, it has to be a big problem like going to Mars. It could be as simple as moving from ground floor to first floor. That's how an escalator happened. But it didn't look like an escalator. Elevator. It was something as simple. I can't remember the name. Safaricom, what slogan? I can't remember it, but it was part of the song. It was a very nice song. Pamoja nawe? No, I can't remember. We will remember. You can see my age group where we are leaning. But back then, even when Safaricom started out of the telecom office, it was thinking about what could make us different from telecom. What would make people stop using telecom and use Safaricom? But they didn't start as what we know them now, Safaricom, M-Pesa, Fuliza, M-Shwari, Global Pocket. It's not that. They started with a SIM card. Evolution. Small thing. You just need to make sure people can call each other from A to B. Nairobi. Put up masks. It worked. Eventually, they progressed to kuna watu wanapigana na ukipigana ni sunitumia do. But now, how are they sending money? How do you send your mom money from Shags to NK Sacco, Molo Line? Hopefully that friend of yours going to Shags will actually deliver the money. Now like, wait, let's create a mobile wallet. Maybe it will make sense. A small one, not here capacity of 500K. No, it was small, like 5K. Eventually, as people use it, they learn. They use the same cycles, they develop it. Now the wallet became bigger. But now they're thinking, you have the money in your account, but go to supermarket, now na cash. How are you paying for this? Let's create a buy goods system. Let's create a pay bill system. Over time, you have money, but you want to save it or you want to invest it. M-Shwari. You see how they develop over time. What is still working? The initial product, the SIM card. Without the SIM card, you can't access everything else. Without the car, what's that safety belt imetokea wapi? You get where I'm coming from. So as much as you're going to develop over time, you still keep coming back to the user. The first user you sold the SIM card to. The first person we figured we need to sell wigs to. Even as you improve the features, you keep looping back, and comparing with your competitors. Before I go far away. Of the day, I was talking about design thinking in application to innovation when you're starting a business, what we'd call a startup or even an MSME. Common mistakes I see a lot of us, young people make is either starting a business because someone else started it and it's making money, or just starting a business without really a lot of research or building the idea to kind of see or test the hypothesis, does it actually make sense? And that led to today's session. Design thinking is basically 5 stages in essence, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and then test. It forces you to think about the business idea and then think about who you could be selling to, because at the end of the day, that's where revenue comes from. So to investors, it's not yourself, it's your customers. Then it forces you to also define the specific problem they're having, one problem they're having that you can solve by now ideating the solution itself. What solution? Is it a short code? Is it an app? Is it a shop? What is it that you're going to give as a solution? Then you have to now create a prototype, a very simple version of the brand scheme of the solution that you can now launch-ish into the market and test and see, are people paying for it? Are people asking for it? People waiting in line to get to use it? And now you can know before you spend 100K, 500K, $1 million on a business idea, you've tested a version of it just to see, is this the right customer? Is this the issue they have? Is this the right problem, right solution to solve that problem that those customers have? How quickly can I test this, and are they actually paying for it, or do they even want it? Now, when you see end to end at the end of it, like during the testing phase, they're not buying, they're even asking for more, then you know you probably have a problem within your process, and you can start again and do it again and again until you find your soft spot where you're not able to make revenue. Yeah.
So how would you what would you say about the Kenyan ecosystem when it comes to enabling those ideas?
Enabling those ideas. So I guess there's many ways to look at it, because there are multiple players in the market who are trying to support young people by launching programs. So every time you see a program, whether it's Seed Stars, Techstars, 500 Global, whether it's even at your local university, sign up for them, but also check which phase they're asking for, because different programs as well decide, we want guys who've done a bit more, we want guys who are at their stage, different offer different things. Number 2, get into the program if you do get in, without being married, it still doesn't make wavy. Be open-minded to change and pivot. Pivot is just changing, basically. Be open to failing fast, and that's the point of the test part. Fail fast, learn fast, pivot or adapt or improve as fast as possible. Also, attend events. There are a lot of events that are happening, especially next week. There's Africa Tech Summit. They might be a bit pricey to attend, but if you can find a way to maybe even ask university or some programs to, fund you or sponsor you to attend, that would be a good place for you to network. Be on the lookout for even virtual workshops. LinkedIn has a lot of those, so you can be able to actually be part of the programs, but also really plug into Startinev and Startup Garage. They're really trying to be in touch with you guys, students, to be able to plug into the greater network that is commonly inaccessible. That's what the ecosystem. There are a lot of people doing different things, but for early stage, idea stage, Startup Garage would be a good place to start. Scour a lot of networking events if you can. Plug in with your university, like the incubation programs they have, and put yourself out there and be willing to fail, but fail fast, learn fast, and then start again.
Now, as we conclude, what are the mistakes to avoid?
Familiar your idea. Just let me tell you, there's for example, I went to uni at the University of Nairobi wanting to be an interior designer. That's not what I am today. And if I stuck to it, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be teaching what I'm teaching. I wouldn't be helping entrepreneurs on the scale at which I do. I went in years wanting to do interior design, but through the process, I allowed myself to see how far my mind would expand with the same classes as everybody else. So I have classmates who are interior designers, fashion designers, and everything, but I'm in the tech system applying the same things we learned, but for business. So I wasn't married to it. So sometimes you're open to, like when you're making a clay pot and you're doing that kind of process, you're allowing yourself to almost form into whatever happens. So even like when you're doing research with customers, you thought you want to start a payment platform, but you realize as they're talking, they'll have a very different problem that you also can solve, and you've opened yourself to it. So please don't be married to the ideas. Be open to change, be open to pivots. Otherwise, utasonga maisha yenu.
Thank you so much. Do you have any final words?
Change is inevitable. Please be open to it and learn. Fail fast, learn fast.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Now that is something most young people really don't like listening to, when someone is talking to them about evolution and the power of small beginnings. You have heard the story she's talked about Safaricom, how it began with selling of SIM card. Now it's, a pocket bank, and that is just the power of beginning small and your ability to evolve. Wanted to be an interior designer, but then right now she's doing a totally different thing, and that is in the power of evolution. Some of us grew up knowing that, we just want to be engineers, we want to be doctors, and then you find that things are not working, and now you want to end it all, rather than evolving as time moves. Another important thing that you also need to notice from that innovation workshop, that is Red Bull Basement in partnership with KU Incubation Hub, that is the Chandaria Business Innovation and Incubation Center, and of course with Microsoft, is that coping without a research base is the leading cause of businesses. We keep it business here. Coming up next is, of course, our news updates. All right, now on our news update this morning, we begin with the head of state, where President William Ruto yesterday gave a new year report during a diplomatic meeting that brought together ambassadors. Where he praised the government for stabilizing the economy, warning those who are saying that the country is being auctioned. Now, the president, however, has stated that a lot is yet to be done to minimize debt crisis in the country, and our political reporter Edward Nyamu reports on that story.
President William Ruto has yet again come out praising his government for easing the cost of living and on stabilizing the economy. According to the head of state, who was speaking in a diplomatic meeting at State House, Nairobi, the country is on the right path economically.
I am very happy that in the last 3 years we have been able to conclude, sign, ratify the economic partnership agreement with Europe. It was quite a very proud moment to sign that contract here. We have also concluded the SEPA agreement with the UAE. We have also almost concluded now the agreement with China.
While lauding the agricultural sector, the president highlighted his government has made progress in exporting food. The president repeatedly stated that Kenya's agriculture sector is the gateway to easing Kenya's market globally.
And then number 3 is, as you know, Kenya is an agricultural country. We are almost exhausting the land that we can farm under rain-fed agriculture. And therefore, it is absolutely necessary for us to now venture into more of water harvesting, water storage, irrigation technology. That is the space we want to go into.
On the Social Health Authority Fund, the president highlighted some of the key steps taken to stabilize the kitty, stating that his government is working to ensure that scandals are being dealt with effectively.
The Constitution mandates us that we must be intentional on making sure that there is intergenerational equity.
Kenya's stand in restoration of peace was said to be essential in preventing instability, with the president calling on European agencies to stand with Kenya as it leads the fight on peace across countries.
Beyond our immediate region, Kenya continues to contribute responsibly to global peace and security as lead nation in the multinational security support mission in Haiti. In Somalia, Kenya continues to encourage constructive dialogue between the federal government and the federal member states as the foundation for national cohesion and effective governance. In South Sudan, Kenya reiterates its call to all parties to fully honor their commitments under the revitalized peace agreement.
African independence was also highlighted, with the president calling on African leaders to unite for the sake of putting African financial independence on a high level.
We have developed alternative mechanisms of trying to make sure that we fund the African Union 100% by ourselves, so that whatever partnership exists will be additional to what we are doing as leaders and as countries in this continent. Number two, we are looking at the peace and security infrastructure.
The New Year diplomatic meeting was to give the government's plan during its 3 years in office. Anyango, KUTV.
All right, now moving on, former Chief Justice David Maraga has strongly criticized efforts to undermine his 2027 presidential ambitions, and Maraga insists that he remains firmly in the race and confident of a victory in the 2027 polls. Now, speaking in Garissa County during a voter registration and national ID issuance dubbed the Katiba Caravan, the United Green presidential hopeful said Kenyans are ready for genuine change.
Justice David Maraga has once again confirmed that he will contest the presidency in 2027, warning those who doubt his resolve to brace themselves for a major political surprise.
Wananiambia CJ, we are behind you.
Currently on a tour of the northern region, Maraga blamed the poor leadership and corruption for stalling development, while urging citizens to register as voters ahead of the 2027 general election.
Ni kuhimiza kila mmoja bila kuwa na kura, your voice will not be heard. Tunataka kuhimiza Wakenya wote wajiandikishe kama wapiga kura. Come 2027 tupige kura.
Addressing residents of Garissa during the Katiba Caravan exercise, Maraga said the warm reception he counts to receive across the country is a clear sign that Kenyans are tired of a broken leadership system and are demanding fundamental change.
Leadership ambao wakiingia kwa uongozi ni kama hiyo kiti ni ATM yake. Pesa ile ambayo inatakikana kutumika kwa mahitaji ya wananchi inaibiwa kiolela. Na kitu ambao kinanihuzunisha kabisa ni kwamba serikali haifanyi vile inatakikana. Central government is not taking the right action. Prosecute those people and hold them accountable. That's what we promised to do.
Maraga called on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to intensify voter registration efforts in pastoralist regions so that nomadic communities are not left behind democratically.
Ni wajibu wa IEBC kuendelesha hii uandikishaji wa kura iende na waende kila pahali, watembee kila pahali ndio waweze kuandikisha. Wakiongojea ati waje kufanya wakati kura imekaribia, utapata wakati huo wafugaji wako msituni huko.
Leaders accompanying him encourage young people and women to actively participate in national leadership, noting that low voter turnout remain a major challenge.
This time where there's scorching droughts, we are not coming to celebrate and dance with the political tunes. We just came and felt that it's the time we talk to the people, they do some changes. If they take the voters card and they get registered with the ID cards, they can bring change.
Also, we want to educate the young people and our mothers who are illiterate on the importance of becoming as a voter and practicing your right.
As the Katiba Caravan heads to Wajir and Mandera counties, Maraga maintains that his mission goes beyond politics, says his goal is to return the country to the core value of accountability, justice and good governance. Akida Kasim, KUTV.
Thank you, Akida. Now, community health services in Embu County have stalled after community health promoters, CHPs, down their tools protesting over unpaid salaries. And as Caroline Kimwele reports, the workers are decrying salary arrears and they're amounting to millions of shillings, where the county government alleged to owe a total of 15.6 million Kenyan shillings for several delayed payment periods.
Community health promoters in Embu County have today downed their tolls and withdrawn health services after going on strike, citing prolonged delays in the payment of their salaries. The approximately 1,600 workers began their strike today, protesting salary arrears running into millions of shillings, where the county government said to owe them a total of 15.6 million shillings for several delayed pay cycles.
Kuna pesa yetu ambao hawajalipa ya November and December 2024, na ndio tumekuja kushirikiana pamoja ili tuweze kuambia watupe pesa yetu sababu tumefanya kazi. Ya pili, kuna watu ambao hawapati pesa from national government ambao tumetuma majina ya hao watu na mpaka imefika pahali mpaka hao watu wamechoka.
While county officials have indicated that recent payments have been deposited into bank accounts, the workers maintain that they have not received the payments for the past 2 weeks.
Miezi 4 hatujalipwa na county. Pesa imewekwa miezi 2 kwa bank mpaka saa hii kutoka 28 January 2026. Sasa hii ni wiki ya pili inaelekea. Pesa ilipotelea wapi? Tunaambiwa kila wakati saa hii tutalipwa, pesa itafuatiliwa mpaka lini?
The delays have raised suspicion among the workers regarding the management of their funds, with complaints extending even to the national government, which has been largely blamed, as some workers claim they are owed salaries of up to 9 months.
Tumecomplain, list zimeenda, tumefanywa correction mpaka tukachoka. Kwa hivyo hata nayo tunauliza, tukifanywa hiyo ingine yote, hata hiyo tukumbukwe, ifuatiliwe ilienda wapi, ili tuweze hata sisi kulipwa, kwa sababu kazi tumefanya, tunaandai haki yetu.
Beyond payment issues, the workers have also emphasized the lack of basic medical supplies, reporting that they have informed the county government about the shortage, but to date, they have not received any supplies. Caroline Kimwele.
Now, thank you, Kimwele. Moving on to a story we highlighted earlier on in the country of drought. Now, following the worsening drought situation in the country occasioned by short rains, the government has examined the national food and nutrition security in order to provide water, livestock feed, and other interventions for the 3.3 million families struck by hunger and drought and in need of assistance nationwide. More resources have been made available to buy more food and non-food stuff. Now, still on a story that we highlighted earlier on our newspapers this morning, 4 senators from the Senate County Public Accounts Committee, led by Moses Kajwang, have been charged by the Council of Governors with extorting, intimidating, and harassing governors during Senate audit inquiries. The 4 senators, according to the Council of Governors Chair and Wajir Governor Ahmed Abdullahi, are extortionists who typically threaten governors who refuse to comply with their request, embarrassing them in the process, stating that they have decided not to attend the Senate Public Accounts Committee until their differences are resolved. Now, President William Ruto has today held talks with Anna Maria, the Italian Minister for Universities and Research. The talks led to the signing of a memorandum of understanding on higher education, training, and research. Through cooperative initiative programs, the MOU aims to improve collaboration in training, research, and higher education. This will facilitate implementation of collaborative research initiatives and sharing of scientific, technological infrastructure and the mobility of researchers, staff, and students.
It is our very considered position that science, technology, innovation is going to play a greater role in how countries are going to go into the future. And it is the reason why we want to enhance financing going to research, science and technology to 2% of our GDP, because it is my very considered belief.
Your Excellency, today's purpose of being here is for us to sign a memorandum of understanding between the Republic of Kenya and the Republic of Italy with respect to higher education, research, and innovation. We've been operating on a memorandum that was signed a long time ago, and it had come out of operation, and we thought it is important for us to have a new memorandum of understanding to allow us to be able to effect the number of programs and collaborations that we want to undertake between Italy and Kenya.
Now, leaders and members of the Swahili community in Mombasa County have intensified their calls for the government to take action to address what they describe as decades of injustice during public forum held at Sarani grounds. They demanded fair compensation, political representation, and improved access to education, employment, and land ownership opportunities. This story was produced by our very own Ateng Kunagunda.
Addressing the press, community representative Alawi Abzen said the Swahili people continue to face systemic challenges despite having a large population in Mombasa and coastal region.
Ukiangalia kwa undani kabisa utaona kwamba nafasi za kazi hazilingani na matarajio yetu. Sera ya serikali ya kuajiri watu inasema kwamba kama shirika liko Mombasa, basi sura au wenyeji wa Mombasa at least 70 au 65 kwa 100 wawe ni watu wa pale.
Mohamed Munyipembe highlighted unresolved historical land injustices, saying many Swahili families remain squatters.
Ishasemwa, lakini ujue mashamba ya wazazi wetu yalichukuliwa na watu walivyochukuliwa ile ancestral lands wakafanywa squatters. Kwa hivyo tutaka kujua mpaka decade ukiangalia wale watu waitwa Swahili ni masquatters na mashamba yao yalichukuliwa ya wazazi wao. Kwa nini hatuwezi pale popote tukae wanazi tukapewa title deeds? Hiyo ni moja. Ya pili, sisi tumepewa majina kadhaa. We are marginalized, we are minority, we are disadvantaged. Mbona hatupewi kama vile constitution ilivyosema wale minority wakapewa priority kama wale wengine?
Meanwhile, Salima Kombo raised concern about discrimination in education, saying qualified Swahili teachers are often denied key positions.
Kitengo cha walemavu ambacho naona serikali imekiacha kando, sisi kama wamiji tuwaona hatupatiwi nafasi nzuri ama hatupatiwi uwakilishi mzuri kwa upande wa walemavu. Tutaona katika serikali imetenga nafikiri shule 2 tu katika mkoa wa Pwani ambayo inashughulikiana na watoto walemavu. Twaomba ikiwezekana hizi facilities ziongezwe ama hizi institutions ziongezwe ili kusaidia jamii inayoishi na ulemavu.
Swahili leaders called on the government to take urgent action, warning that continued neglect threatens opportunity, equality and youth stability in Mombasa. Ateng Kunagunda, KUTV.
All right, now that brings us to the end of our news update this morning. Coming up next is a discussion on building financially sustainable businesses, what every Kenyan entrepreneur should get right, and helping us understand that discussion is Austin Martin, who is a student right here in Kenyatta University and a member of the Finance Society of Kenya, which has been very crucial for this show, and also CPA Patrick Odhiambo. They're already in studio with us and they'll be helping us understand more on the topic. That discussion is coming up shortly after the break.
Panda. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
A new era, a new people. This is the Law Matters Show. A program that brings you legal sensitization on your television.
My statement is written and just the quote the prosecution.
I think that this loss is a setback for Raila Odinga.
What policy recommendations were fronted by the candidate?
With diversity, we demystify important legal issues locally, regionally, and internationally.
What Tanzanians...
Join me, Elvin Onsongo, as I bring you more insights on law matters.
We are looking at social issues. What is the problem? Is it the economy? Is it...
Law Matters Show, creating awareness, advocacy, and enhancing lives.
Kaka mtazamaji popote ulipo, unapokuwa ukitazama Safina Show
inang'oananga sasa hivi. Ungana nami Albanas Mwania, nahodha wa Safina Show, nikutoe ng'ambo ya pili hadi ufuoni. Safina Show, sauti ya matumaini.
My name is Jakub Petri. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Msimu mpya, uso mpya, nguvu mpya, bila shaka na ari mpya, lakini dhamira ni ile ile: kuboresha kilimo kwa maisha bora. Jiunge nami James Baraka na hudha wako mpya wa kipindi cha Boresha Kilimo, tunapochunguza mbinu za kisasa za kilimo, ukipenda teknolojia ibuka katika kilimo, maoni ya wataalamu na hadithi za mafanikio kutoka kila pembe ya taifa. Kutoka kwa wakulima wadogo hadi biashara za kilimo zilizostawi, tunakuvika maarifa na suluhisho kamili, si tu za kuongeza mazao yako, bali pia kuimarisha maisha yako. Kila Jumamosi saa 6:30 na Jumanne saa 4 asubuhi, usipitwe na baraka za Boresha Kilimo, nami James Baraka, hapa hapa KUTV.
Welcome back. When you are seated, you know it's about to get down on matters business, and our guests are ready for the discussion on what every entrepreneur needs to know about their businesses. And just allow me have the guests introduce themselves to us before we get into this discussion. Let me begin from my immediate right. Sylvia, karibu sana.
Thank you so much this morning to have me here in this session. My name is Sylvia Patrick Odhiambo. I'm an audit manager at Ronas LLP. Ronas LLP is a Pan-African indigenous professional firm that supports firms to always grow, professionalize, and sustain themselves in the near future. So that is me in a summary.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for having me here. My name is Austin Martin, a student at Kenyatta University School of Business. Yeah.
Karibu sana. They normally say that young people always have a problem when people who are above us introduce themselves having all these achievements, and then you're like, oh, I'm just having my degree, or I just graduated, and you're finding it hard to introduce yourself, but it's okay. Yeah. There's one guest who was here with us some time back, and he told us that just by having that experience, you should always feel like you are a CPA even before you get to being a CPA. Karibu sana, gentlemen, to our studios this morning. And the discussion that you're having this morning is on building financially sustainable businesses, and of course what every entrepreneur should get right. Now, CPA, you've been in the audit sector for quite some time now, more than 5 years. So that is quite some time. Why do you think most businesses fail despite working hard and, having to do all this research? Why do you think most of them fail?
Thank you for the good question. It's always very norm for entrepreneurs in Kenya to start the businesses, and the main intention is to thrive even beyond the owner's living history. So you find most of the times the owners go through a number of challenges, but for the purpose of this discussion this morning, I'll just take you through the key main area, or maybe the key challenge that entrepreneurs in Kenya and beyond have been going through. Because during the span of my career as an auditor, I've helped firms across various industry in the corporate sector, both in manufacturing, real estate, logistics, mining, just to mention a few, to just ensure that they professionalize and scale beyond the owners. So one of the key challenges is the cash flow management. We find that most entrepreneurs have the challenges of managing their cash flow. And why do I say cash flow management? You find that an entrepreneur starts the business today, but the main challenge they don't know how to separate, or mostly some do not separate their main bank accounts and the business account. And you find most often they do transact either through M-Pesa or through personal savings accounts. So you find it's always difficult for the entrepreneurs even to track and trace the revenue growth or the profitability of the business. Another key element which also affects the cash flow is the frequent withdrawals from the entrepreneurs. So you find people withdraw from their businesses like ATM. I always say discipline matters a lot, because your business is not like an ATM where you want to withdraw money anytime. Entrepreneurs should create a discipline culture where they also earn from the business itself. You need to set a fixed earning like any other employee in that business to ensure that you control on the consumption. Another key issue is about setting the correct structures and systems to enable the business run smoothly and efficiently. Yeah, that's my take.
So it's majorly about discipline and structure.
Sure, it's more about discipline, structure, and setting good processes within the business.
So the development of systems like, Pochi la Biashara, Till Number, it's considered a safe space where an entrepreneur can embrace when having their businesses, rather than just using send money option.
Sure. With the digitalization and also automation, I believe the entrepreneurs should consider those avenues to ensure they manage their cash flows efficiently, and at the same time, not just focus on sales. Because when you focus on sales, you will forget about the other elements, because at the end of the day, you need to have elements of even cash reserves or just emergency funds to enable the business to outlive during the elements of uncertainties or volatilities, which makes the business sometimes to be unpredictable. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about divestiture in a short while, but let me just get to you, Martin. Yeah. For the young people, what do you think is the major reason why their businesses fail? Is it lack of finances to, propel their business or to reinvest in their businesses, or is it just generally financial discipline?
Okay, thank you. For the young people, of which are the one who I'm interacting with mostly, I think the financial problem that they are facing is that, okay, the starting capital, you might get, okay, you have something to start the business, but now after some time the business need management, and they might fail to get the money to manage the business while it's on its track. And also the second thing, I think it's what CP has just said, mixing the personal account with the business account. Because when you'll get yourself mixing the two accounts, there are some drawings which you're going to make, which are going to affect the business, and you'll get at some point the business will, for example, you have some certain assets. For example, you are delivering products for people. Then, for example, your delivery machine gets a breakdown. You'll need an emergency fund, and if you mix the funds, the personal funds and the business funds, you'll get that even realizing the total profit, it will be difficult, because you'll get yourself getting drawings, and at the end of the day, when you go back to your books, it will be very difficult for you to track your money cash flow. So me, I think the two, for the time I've been with my fellow young people, that is what I think I've seen for the time being. Yeah.
All right, now coming back to CPA, you've talked about ignorance, lack of structures and all that, but what do you think is a major misstep that most businesses make within the first 2 years of operation that is very difficult to track yourself back, or difficult to correct, that they need to avoid within the first 2 years?
Thank you. I think within the first 2 years, the most important is to set good structures, set good processes and systems. Because I believe if you have good structures and you invest in strong systems, then you are just good to go. So people fail to plan accordingly. So I think, to me, you need to have a roadmap on how you need the business to be driven to the next foreseeable future, to enable the business to outlive you yourself. So the problem, like us, even in Kenyan business or maybe in African business, people use the term Anyango. So Anyango makes it nitarudisha baadaye. So people does not have that discipline element. People just want to spend and just focus on revenue. Today you get good sales. You say, I want to go for vacation. You didn't even plan for vacation. I want to go to Diani. The next thing, I want to go to Dubai. And you see, these expenses have not been planned for. So to me, I think proper planning, effective planning is very key to the growth of this business for the first 2 years after inception.
I think I'm a victim, but let's not talk about my mistakes, because I had a speaker say that most of the time young or entrepreneurs get into business talking of, I want to start this business, I want to build this, but then it ends up being I want to be the salesperson, you want to be the marketer, and then wonder why you're being drained in your own business and end up failing. So I think that analogy makes sense there. But then also there's the issue of you've begun your business, but then you're at a point you feel like, okay, I've begun making sales and now I need to, expand my business. How do I expand my business? Probably get a loan or something like that. What's your opinion on expansion and loans, on generally how to expand your business?
I think expanding businesses first involves strategic decision making by the co-founder, first of all, because the co-founder has to have a roadmap, a clear strategic plan. You need to set what is called clear, at the same time smart strategic goals. So what do we mean by smart strategic goals? First, they must be the goals must be within the time bound. They must be realistic, achievable at the same time, because entrepreneurs want to set high goals that themselves in clear circumstances are not achievable in the long run. So just set smart goals or smart strategic goals, have a roadmap, know that from this direction I need to drive to the other direction. Also at the same time, it is always the owners or maybe the entrepreneurs, you need to bring good systems. What do I mean by systems or process? Bring in good people with good qualifications to help you with good ideas to propel the business, so that your main goal will be focusing on how to expand this business, get into the market, ventures, do a bit of market leadership, and also self-leadership is also very important, because when you'll be there a lone ranger and running the entire system, first, it means you don't have people to trust. So I believe trust is also very important, where you believe that you can bring good people, good professionals like you here as a journalist, who can run this studio without even the co-founders or the owners. So the entrepreneurs should think on that idea of having the business run by professionals who can help them to just navigate the market industry. Yeah.
That's well said. Now, Martin, the young people, as you mentioned before, often lack of finances is a major problem for them. So what do you think are the avenues that young people should look out for when wanting to finance their businesses, especially at the initial stages, apart from getting to their own savings and, having their families chip in?
Okay. I think for the young people, what I think is that we need to learn. Okay, for me, I think we need to learn more about circles, because as far as I know whenever you get yourself in a very good circle, like a circle which makes profit, okay, the certified circles, you'll get yourself, if you invest in the circle, after a certain period of time, it will now be able to give you a loan, which it's a safe loan, a good loan. Okay, I will call it a safe loan. So most of the young people don't know about circles. They have not done research. Most of them, they are not, okay, they just want to start a business. Okay, even me, I am a young person who wants to own my own business at a very young age. That's why I dive into such things. And I just realized that when you are into a circle, as the little money that you have, you invest in the circle. After some time, whenever you will now need a great startup capital, when you go back to the circle, it will be easier for you to access a loan than when you go to the bank as a student. Yeah, so I think that is the way that I can say the young people, the students can access a good capital for them to start a business.
Right. Now, CPA, there are other avenues that's not young people only, but also those who are in business, even the seasoned entrepreneur who are veterans in the business. Sometimes you want to expand, and then there comes an opportunity where you're looking for grants, you're looking for partnerships, you're looking, for all these collaborations to expand your capital base so that you can expand your business. And there comes a question of integrity and such. So in your view, what do you think is the reason why most investors move away from certain businesses? And they're like, you give a proposal and they're like, no, we cannot work with you. What do you think turns down most proposals of businesses?
Thank you so much. I think the issue of integrity is very paramount in every business for its success and also for its growth, because integrity is about ethics. And everybody wants to associate with the people they can trust and build just business partnership together. So for companies to have, or maybe entrepreneurs to have integrity, it brings a bit of just cohesion and good business development and also growth. Because one, without integrity, you are not able to access any loan or credits with financial institutions, because one thing, they will be checking your credit worthiness. If you don't have integrity, no financial institution will have trust on you. So you should be an entrepreneur, one who believes and also have ethical standards and also principles that even the stakeholders can have trust on. Also, you find that without integrity, or with integrity itself, you will be able to build the trust of the business. People will believe in you. The entrepreneurs or other partners will come in, invest, and make your business scale. So I believe integrity is very key to every business success, and also for those young entrepreneurs, even from the campus level, who want to get into the business. Because today, I say, I come to a shop as a supplier. I supply you maybe with the pens, also maybe with these cookies at the shop there in the campus. So what happens? You tell me, Patrick, please, I'll pay you the next 6 days. Come for your money. In the next 6 days, I come back. I don't find you. You tell me, sorry, I went to class. Please come back and check in the afternoon. In the afternoon, I come back. You're not where to be seen. After later days, you find you have even switched off your phone. You are now becoming inaccessible. So you find through that, people lose trust in you, because now you are no one who people can now build trust and do business partnership together. So I believe integrity is very paramount and very key for the success of any business. So any entrepreneur should first focus on ethical standards, and that's why as even accountants and auditors, we are being regulated by the professional body, ASPAC, and any other regulators, to just ensure that we are people of ethical values and standards. Because in my normal business, daily business, I do give advisory services to the client. Assume now today I go to client, very scratchy and very unkempt. Do you feel the client will trust me with their business to give them advisory services? Assume this client generates a revenue of close to 1 billion. The client will say, no, I don't feel this is the right candidate. Even if I walk to that room, to the boardroom, to convince directors to give me that job so that I can give them audit advisory services, I think they will not have trust in me. So I think integrity is also ultimately how do you present yourself to the third parties.
From an auditor's perspective, apart from integrity and ethics, what do you think are other reasons why investors turn down proposals, or what are the components of a good proposal?
So maybe to understand your question, you can expound it whether in the scope of the audit. In the
scope of, you have a business, and then you're probably proposing to investors to come in, whether in partnerships or they're having stakes in it. So what makes a good proposal that even investors, when they come in, they're looking at your proposal and they're like, no, this one is a good one?
Thank you. I think to me, every investor focuses first of all on your cash flows. How do you manage your cash flows efficiently? Remember, cash flow is very key to every investor. No investor will be interested to invest in your business without checking keenly onto your cash flows. Cash flow basically is how you spend money coming in and money going out. Because where is your money tied? The investor will be so concentrating on where is your money tied in the long run. So how do you manage your revenue and also receivables? Do you have good credit control where now today you sell a product to your customers and the repayment period, you can shorten your repayment period? How do you relate well with your suppliers? Because sometimes for you to also maintain good cash flows, I want to tell you, it's good sometimes to bargain with your suppliers to have a long repayment plan, but that which does not affect the relationship with the supplier in the long run. So managing your money in and money out is very key, and every investor's focal point will be on your cash flows. Yeah.
All right. Now, Martin, from where you see, do you think this is something that the young people really have at the moment?
The integrity perspective.
Yes.
Okay, as he has just said, integrity first begins in how you present yourself to others. Like when I'm coming to meet you, how am I presented? Okay, for now, I think for the young people, for the young people, they do believe that until you get into the job market, until you finish school, it's when we need to be ready and presentable for the third parties. But for me, I think for the young people who have already started to venture into business and moving into corporates, I think they're the one who believes whatever he says. But there are people with different perspective. Others do believe I will do this after I've finished my degree. I do this after I've jumped into the job market. So we young people, we have different perspective according to what we want to achieve personally. Yeah, that's what I can say for that.
All right. CPA, I'm back at you again. At what point does a business require professional advisory?
Thank you. To me, I believe professional advisory is very key, first of all, even before answering your question, to what point. Having professionals in your business makes the business run smoothly. It will make it also easy for key decision making and also invest prudently. So it depends. One, whether you are an SME, that is small medium enterprise, or you are a medium enterprise. So I believe there are various factors that makes now the need for having a professional in the business, because one is about revenue scale and scalability. So the more the business grows, the more it becomes complex, and you will find yourself handling more complex transactions. So then these complex transactions therefore will require the need of having a professional, a third eye. Either you're having a professional accountant to just help you having good record keeping, to be able to just have your data well analyzed and also maintained in a proper way. The next issue is about compliance. Compliance is also something very important in every business today, because most businesses goes down with failure to comply. Right now, we have various compliance or maybe regulatory bodies. For example, the elements of KRA. For the taxman will not even have the problem. Whether you have in the business for 1 year, so long you don't comply with the relevant tax laws that are applicable to that business. For example, today you start a business, or maybe you have a tune of 20 to 50 staff. There's specific or compulsory taxes that you need to comply with. Among them is the statutory taxes, like the PAYE, the normal pay as you earn taxes. Maybe you are in the sales, you need to comply with the VAT if it is within the threshold of the requirement, the required minimum. So I believe compliance is also very key. And also, maybe you are also operating in a given regulatory framework which requires you to comply with that, maybe issues to do with the NEMA, labor laws. So compliance is also very key. So those two makes it very necessary to have professional to come in. And also when you look at compliance, you remember there are some financial institutions, and most financial institutions, let's say banks, they will never give you a facility, because one of the requirements, even them, they are mandated by CBK to have your books being audited. So you need to comply to ensure that as required by the law or maybe regulations, you need to have professionals, one who help you do good record keeping, and another one who will help you to ensure you have strong controls, internal controls are in place within the business. That then therefore we say that there are no any elements of error or maybe fraud that can emanate within the business. So then having a professional accountant or maybe an auditor, now external auditor, that comes now to examine those books and also check whether they give true and fair view position is very key to the business.
What happens to these small businesses that probably may not be able to afford, accountants and auditors and all that? How do they stay in business?
Thank you. I think even if you are a small business, maybe today, like for the case of my co-panelist who deals mostly with the students level who wants to become entrepreneurs, I believe first yourself, there are many avenues you can use to ensure that you have good record keeping for your business, because you just need to have a small dashboard where you can track your expenses and sales, because for a small business your main focus is just sales and expenses. So just have a small dashboard, because there are also various tools that you can use, not necessarily that you need to invest, to have capital intensive to invest in various softwares which are so expensive for the business. So you cut your coat according to your size. As you tend to grow, first invest in those affordable systems that you can be able to work on, because one, I believe with the element of automation, nowadays there are Google Sheets. I believe Google Sheets are very secure, where you can just find yourself tracking your daily sales and daily expenses, so that you be able to check whether your business is progressing well or not. Yeah.
All right. Now I'm thinking of it, Martin, in a small scale perspective, especially pale KM, you have, unaenda Kikomba, you pick your clothes, you're coming to sell them, and then there is where you have the KRA on your neck and all that. How do young people deal with these cases? Are they even aware of such complications that may possibly be coming through, especially na maneno ya items?
Okay, for the young people, as I said, most of them don't know these things about KRA items, because most of the business are not even the registered business. You just come with a business and you start. But okay, it's good for you to have a registered business under the system, but most of them don't want, because okay, as long as you've registered your business, you'll be paying some taxes. Now that is what most young people want. Like young people, most of us want to evade the taxes. Yeah, exactly, because we do believe that taxes were not meant for young people. Exactly. So most of them don't want to go into registered business, because the moment you register your business, you'll start now being followed up by these organizations like KRA, and you need to pay the startups taxes. Yeah, that is why I think the young people he'll just prefer to go to Gikomba, buy some few things that he or she will start with the business, and then you'll just sell it and get some profit. And he continues. Yeah.
Now, CPA, you've been in this space for quite some time with different firms and all that. Where do you think people get entangled, especially on compliance issues, and these cases of there was something happened and the accountant is now with several cases and all that? Where do they get caught up with the security forces?
Thank you. I think the way Austin has put it in regards to one, you should have a legally registered business. You find that most people or most entrepreneurs want to do business there. To them, they assume, of course, we are Kenyans. We say, but kwa Kiswahili, but hii biashara yangu mimi hakuna kitu naiba, nafanya tu biashara lali. But not knowing at the end of the game, you need to ensure that this business is legally registered, because you need also to be regulated by various frameworks or various bodies that ensures that your business then does not prohibit the intention why it has been created. Because you find yourself, you are operating within maybe Nairobi County. There are various just licenses that you need to operate. You start a small shop, just take a a small fee license that I think will not cost you. But you find that not necessarily taxes. I think the most important is about complying and having the business legally registered, because during the first stages of your businesses, you can apply for tax-free holidays where you don't pay taxes, because you might be running the business, but at the same time, at that first inception years, you are not making any profit. So you will not be having any taxable profit that the KRA man will be coming for. And you see, at that time, you are just yourself, you and maybe your clothes or Mitumba clothes, you are picking from Gikomba. So I feel compliance in terms of having a recognized, legally registered business is a game changer for every entrepreneur.
So on legal grounds, lack of knowledge is not an excuse.
Exactly. The lack of knowledge is not an excuse. Today, you take your car to the road and you tell the police officer, you have some small cracks on the window. You tell, but I didn't know. You didn't know. Is like you yourself, you don't want to go for knowledge, and the knowledge is available everywhere. So I think ignorance will not make you go unpunishable. Yes.
I think that is something that they should all get. We should all get from this conversation today. That if you want to begin a business, you always need to find a way of, getting it to a legal ground. Now, from the microfinance space, what are the lessons that small businesses should learn from microfinance institutions?
Thank you. I think one is about effective cash flow management. As I always said it, that every business need to strategically be able to monitor their cash flows, the money in and the money out. That is very important. Another thing they also need to learn about is about the self-discipline, and also in terms of the revenue growth and also revenue streams, because you need not to rely on one source of revenue streams. The moment you rely on one source of revenue stream, and because of the unpredictable circumstances within the framework or within the economic downturn we operate as business entrepreneurs, sometimes can be tricky. You remember the other time when COVID-19 just hit the country, some businesses closed up and went home because, one, they didn't have alternative sources of revenue. So we should not just put our baskets, our eggs into one basket. You need to venture into other sources of income, because today you get, you are in Mtumba, you get that revenue, and you have some profit, small profit. You need to reinvest that profit in other avenues. You need to diversify your income, because you can take that to circles, the way my co-panelists have said. It can earn you small interest within that. Or you can also have an alternative avenue like fixed deposit, maybe in banks, the good banks, the commercial banks, which are well recognized. You can also take that money to an MMF account, the money market fund, because there are various avenues that you can create to make you earn just money while sitting at home. You don't need to sweat yourself. Take that money to other areas to get more income. So that's one of the disciplines that also young people should also cope with, to just be able to get other sources of income. Today you are selling Mitumba, you start with Mitumba. You don't really stop in Mitumba. You can add a bit of ladies' shoes, men wear, maybe children toys. Just be able to diversify your source of income. Yeah.
I think that is something that we also had on the innovation workshop that we had before, where the lady was talking about evolution and moving according to times and all that. Now, Martin, any advice to the young people, especially on how they can harness technology to better their businesses?
Okay, the first thing that the young people should know is that ignorance, it's not an excuse, as CP has just said. We need to go back and look into like for now, we know that everything is now becoming digitalized, and most of the young people are saying, oh, AI is coming to take our jobs. But for some of us, we have different perspective. If you know how to use the technology, it's just coming to give you an advantage over the other ones who don't know how to use it. So we have to go back and have the knowledge of how technology is going to help you in your specific field. And if you use it, you'll now realize that it is making work easier for you, and now the workforce is going to reduce. Yeah. So I think the young people just have to be committed, be disciplined, and go back and learn how this technology that is, technology is evolving day by day. So we need to go back to the drawing board as young people and accept that yes, technology is coming, but it's not coming to take the jobs. It's just coming to make the jobs easier. And whenever technology comes in to make the work easier, it will give you an opportunity to venture into other things. You will not only focus on one thing, but at least that will help you have multiple source of revenues, because when I use AI to do something, that means that time that I could have used to do it, I can use the same time to do something else. So it's just our responsibility, and it's like it's upon us to either accept to learn it or not. But for the few who have decided, you see, some people nowadays are just working from home, and you'll get some people are still complaining there is no work. Exactly. So I do think it's just the ignorance that the young people are having. Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to get a question from our online audience, but before we get to that, as this Lords, CPF, from where you sit, what advice would you give businesses and organizations and all that, especially on the relevance of auditing the businesses?
Thank you. I think the most important is about proper record keeping. That businesses, with the coming of even the issues with the e-tips from KRA, they now need to know that record keeping is now not an exemption, but it's a must thing to do. You must have proper books, well maintained and ready to be evaluated or maybe examined by an external auditor, just to be able to give a good opinion whether those books gives a true and fair view. So I think proper record keeping is a game changer, because you are not able to claim the expenses if those expenses cannot be well supported from the KRA while filing your taxes. So it's very important for that every expenses that you incur in that business should be well documented, they should be well supported, and should be well aligned to give the good audit trail that then can be used to give an opinion as to whether those reports provide true and fair view. Yeah.
All right, well said. I was thinking of someone having a hotel na nanunua mboga Githurai, so how are they going to keep records of the expenses, and how this e-tims issue is a problem to the small business? But let's get to the online question for the online audience. Could you please, that is to you, CPA, could you please provide tangible reasons for students in campus how they need to register their businesses?
Thank you very much. I think I also did business while I was a student in campus. Those times I was doing after graduating with my first degree. Then now to create avenues to also get at least some income to support my master's self-study, I decided to open a small shop. And one thing I want to tell you, the way we have said here, sometimes ignorance is bad, because I also assumed that the way one audience have just asked the question, I assumed that because I'm just a student, so then why should I need to go and register? Remember, in this shop, I had the elements of, I had diversified other products I was selling with this small shop. Kibandaski, I had a bit of M-Pesa shop. At the same time, I was selling food items. So I took only the license from the Kanjo for the shop to just conduct my business. But I didn't know that I need also to take the health license from the Ministry of Health guys. So one day in the evening, you know what? I find Kanjo coming. I thought they are just coming to greet and see how I'm doing well as a student. This student doing business at this age. This wow, they are greeting me well, and now the next time they are telling me we need to go. So yes, at that time I accepted, because I was saying, but I was ignorant. But that's why we are saying from the word go, ignorance is bad.
Okay.
We need to really invest in knowledge. We have peers that we can benchmark from. And we have nowadays the automation of AI. We can search anything from online before you make any step or before you make any conversation. Even at workplace, today you report at work and you feel today your moods are not okay. Just talk to your AI. AI, today my moods are not okay. Greet your AI. So how do I at least greet my boss? Because today I came from the house and even maybe there was no electricity or there was no water. I didn't take showers. So I feel like I am not happy. So just ask your AI, how should I respond to this situation? Maybe a child comes to me annoyed. You didn't give us that report. So I believe you need to really research. Information is available there outside, freely available online.
All right. Now, there's another question. What is the critical role accountants, especially those in private sector, can do to tame the runaway corruption?
Thank you. I think corruption is a fraud triangle. And always to do away with the corruption menace in organization requires stringent controls and policies put in place by those charged with governance and the key management, just to ensure that fraud is always reduced to a tolerable error. You need to create good policies such as whistleblowing policies to just give opportunities on how then employees can be able to provide information if such maybe is occurring to the organization. Also, one of the strategies to mitigate fraud within the organization is to involve the staff. Sometimes it's good to create even the departmental fraud units within the organization. And through that, the staff will get motivated along and they will be able to feel as part and parcel of that organization. So staff inclusivity is also very important in terms of even hiring, both gender, age, and also in terms of the tribe base. So you need to also ensure that you have staff inclusivity within the organization. A bit of also staff productivity is very important, because don't be an entrepreneur who is so greedy to even share that part of pie that you receive. Today, the employees have struggled the entire year of 2026 to generate revenue. Maybe your revenue has grown by even 60%, but you are too mean to share from the staff. Do you think the next time they will not steal with you? And some of them, let's say if even banking sector, you go to the teller and the teller is the one who receives your 6 million you want to bank. And they can see the record the organization is doing so well. So I think also it's a call action for those charged with governance and also the business owners to just ensure they are fair also to the staff. They need to treat their employees so much well that they feel that part and parcel of that organization. They need to involve them in every key decision making of that organization, because you will never steal from what you believe you are part of.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time for us this morning. I believe this has been good also to the upcoming accountants or those accountants who are in the field and want to progress with their careers in accounting. Usijipate korokoroni for ignorance. All right, that brings us to the end of the first launch here on Biashara Tuesday. Coming up next is a discussion on tourism resilience, and stay tuned for that discussion after the break.
For the innovators. Sylvia?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yeah.
Okay. What was email music?
And maybe your role in this.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, my name is Timothy Laku, and I am here today as a judge for Halt's Prize here at Kenyatta University. Young people presenting their startup ideas,
competing for $1 million at the global stage. So really exciting. We've got a bunch of people here, a lot of innovators who are really excited about the idea. My background is tech. I work in the tech ecosystem for the last 20 years with a bunch of companies across Africa. So my role here is essentially to understand and to identify the innovations that are worth taking to the global scale. So really excited to be here. And we've seen a bunch of them. We've seen some great innovations from the young people who have presented today. My message to the young people, this is Africa. We do have some constraints. Do not think about copy-pasting the Silicon Valley model. When you're thinking about Africa and innovations for Africa, our context is very unique. We have limited internet access. We do not all have mobile connectivity through mobile phones, and not all of us speak English. So the context of the innovation matters. And so I am here as well to be able to see who is able to present an innovation that is collectively solving for Africa and not necessarily for the West. So that's my message for the young people. Africa's context matters. So build for Africa.
Okay, so just out of that, what are some of the challenges and some of the things the students are doing right?
What are some of them?
The things the students are doing right in innovation.
They're not doing right? Yeah. They're not doing right? I wouldn't say not doing right. I think when you think about a business model, you have to understand that you have to make money. And so when you have a startup, you have to think about that startup as from day one, where will you make your money from? And a lot of the ideas that we've had today are still in the inception phase. They're still piloting, they're still testing it out. Nothing is ready for the production or to the market yet, so there's a bit of a gap there. The other thing is as well, if you're thinking about distribution, you're thinking about production, you're thinking about some of the ideas I've had around is you're building 3 different businesses in one. And that's usually very complicated. And sometimes they don't understand that. You have a hardware business, so you have to do manufacturing. You're building an app, so then you have to connect that app to the system. You're trying to find customers. Those are too many things you're doing at once. And some of these business ideas are just too complex. They require so much capital, it's not viable to actually do them, right? So there's also that being realistic with what it is that you're building as a startup. I think that's very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're done.
And my name is Brenda Rombo, and I come from an organization that is called Be the Engineer. I am the founder and the CEO. And I'm really excited and glad to be here today at the Halt Prize KU chapter. The first half of the session has been very impressive. We've seen great ideas and projects from the students, innovations that have come up trying to solve the problems that you're facing as a society, as a country, and even as a continent. What I would say I expect from the winning pitch today is a solution that is going to solve our daily problems and also to show scalability and how it's going to impact the society and if the solution is scalable. So how easy and scalable is it in the future, apart from the funding that they're going to get when they win this prize, and also a strong team. I would want to see a strong, well-coordinated, well-balanced team that has, I would say, all the talent and all the expertise that is required for the idea or the solution to hit the market. Something else is I would also be glad to see a team that comes up with systems and structures. People, how are they going to manage people, the community, the society around them, their employees, their expertise. So I would love to see such kind of a team and pitch and I would say an idea coming up as the winners of the Halt Prize KU chapter. Yeah, so may the best team win.
Okay, so what message, away from that, what message can you give the young innovators?
I would encourage them to be very open and flexible, and they should be, I would say, prepared at all times, because every day we face challenges in life, and your business is just one challenge away. You don't have to think so hard and do something so difficult. Just look at the challenge you're facing, your friend, your colleague, your parents, or just the community around you, and try and bridge that gap with the education that you're getting, with the, I would say, the information that is out there. We have a lot of information out there in various platforms, YouTube. The world is not flat. You can get so much information out there. So bridge the gap with the education, the information, and not the challenge that you're facing, and then try and come up with a solution. So all businesses are always trying to solve a solution. So the question is, will people buy it? Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Alvin Kiprotich. I'm a student at KU here on my final year pursuing computer science, and I'm the current Halt Prize campus director. So I'm the one in charge of organizing the event here at Kenyatta University. So Halt Prize is a global organization that initiates competition from local level to international global stage, and at that point where if you succeed to get that point, that's when you win a cash prize of $1 million. And the initiative has been there for a while, and actually we were lucky. In 2022 we had a team that won called the Kobana, and they emerged the winner. So we are looking forward to see this also being the Kenyatta University students being part of the same, and also we are really passionate to ensure that those students who have ideas but don't know how actually to actualize it can be able to get to a point where they realize actually it's really workable. So we are really glad, and actually seeing so many teams participating is such a good thing, from different schools, engineering, computing, because it's open to all levels, either in it doesn't have to be technical, but a solution, as long as you're solving problem, that's what is needed in Halt Prize. So yes, we are looking forward to CKU also being part of this, the administration in support of such initiatives, so that we have easy mobilization, access of resources. You understand sometimes competition take an entire day, so a resource will be very valuable in ensuring this facilitation, and that will be very much valuable to ensure that there is frequent workshops even before having the final competition. Yes.
Okay, so what is your ask for the government or the stakeholders to come through for this?
Not just as a Halt Prize, but there is need for continued initiative to push students to present and show their capabilities, because some are very capable but they don't have the platform, they are not aware. But if there's a push and a drive to ensure that there's continued mobilization and information to the youth, I think this is a great opportunity for startups to come up and solutions coming up for problems in our societies.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Claire Mboikanya. I'm here for Halt Prize. Our idea is called Mizizi. We discovered that many of our youth are not connected to their cultural heritage. Like, you will interview a person, a youth person, they don't know their mother tongue, but they know English and Kiswahili well. They don't know where they came from, they don't know the stories of their people. They can hear, but they cannot speak their language. So that's where our idea was born from, Mizizi, a digital archive where we store living stories, oral living stories from our elders, community-appointed custodians. They give us the knowledge, we preserve it, and then youth and communities can learn from that knowledge and thereby integrate more with their cultural heritage.
Okay, so who will benefit most from our solution?
Youth will benefit most from our solution. Culture is important. itakatiwa. Okay. Kuna hii saying ya culture, mwenye hana culture anakunga.
Okay, hi, my name is Priscilla. I'm in charge of finance in our project called Food for Comrade. So what is Food for Comrade? It's a project whereby we are solving the crisis of campus hunger by involving both the parents and the students. So we have a model whereby we have the parents on board and students on board. Sometimes the parents, they send upkeep money to the students, but due to students not being financially, they don't have the financial awareness, they end up misspending the upkeep money. Sometimes the parents don't send the money, they don't have the money. So in our project, the parents can also get credit. In case you don't have money to send to your child in campus, you can get quick credit. We are partnering with banks and circles. And then for the vulnerable students, they are our beneficiaries. They get meals and foodstuffs and other materials at subsidized prices with our partners, which are the Shop Okoa.
Okay, so who are the people who will benefit most from your innovation?
Okay, from our project, the people who will benefit most are both the parents and the students, the campus students. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges you go through during?
Well, so far we've piloted our program, and I can say the major challenge is finding people who are really vulnerable. You know, nowadays people may tend to want free things. So if you hear somewhere where you'll be given some money more oftenly to cater for your upkeep, you run there. So that's a challenge, but we've tried to navigate it using very strict onboarding measures. Yeah.
What can you tell the stakeholders or the government?
I can. Okay. My call to stakeholders is that campus hunger is a real menace and it needs to be addressed, because you find that most students, they drop out of school not because of lack of tuition or other hindrances, but campus hunger or lack of upkeep. So they are forced to trade their studies by getting a part-time job, and as time goes by, you find that they are more consumed to the job than their coursework, and they end up dropping. That is why we have a lot of career students, people who never graduate. They've been campuses for years and years and years. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Welcome back, and right, welcome back, and we are still a discussion on and we're about to talk about All right, apologies for that hitch. Now, welcome back on the launch. This is launch 2, where we're about to talk about tourism resilience in action. And this is not just a conversation on the Mara. This is an all-round conversation on tourism, especially with the young generation. Before we got live with our guest, we were just talking about how important it is to travel more at your younger age. But let me not get into much of the talking. Allow me introduce Dr. Albert Chege, who is a lecturer, senior lecturer at Kenyatta University and the Director, Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, East Africa. Karibu sana daktari.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here online, and I'm Dr. Albert Kariuki. Kariuki comes out better. I'm the director at the Global Tourism Resilience Center, which is domiciled here at Kenyatta University. Thank you so much.
Right, karibu sana. And from the name, resilience is really coming out a lot from that name. So what exactly are we fighting in this case?
What happens is, for years we've talked about a tourism industry. But tourism industry does come with a lot of negativity. So out of those negatives, the negative impacts and positive impacts is a question of throwing the baby with the bathwater. We had to look for a way of balancing the negatives with positives. We maximize the positives and minimize the negatives. Mm-hmm. And that is when sustainable debate came. That good tourism, baptizing tourism, giving it good things. And the conversation then has shifted in the 2000s to crisis management resilience. We are asking ourselves, amid this the good industry, what can we do about it? Can we be able to be resilient? Can we be able to recover? Can we be able to face crisis? Can we be able to bounce back? That's a debate for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's all about bouncing back from, because we can't avoid them in the first place.
Yeah, the fact is crisis will always be there in life, in personal life and everything there. But how we bounce back, in fact, how fast we bounce back should be the spirit. And that is what destinations are doing. Looking at our statistics in Kenya, look at last year we did 2.4 pre-2019 we are doing 2.4. We fell down to even around 1.3 during COVID. So the idea is how fast do destinations come back so that the communities who rely on tourism are not affected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So where is Kenya's tourism sector most vulnerable at the moment?
Basically because look at the regions that we occupy, isn't it? The issues of climate change, isn't it? Most of our products, Kenya has over the years relied on wildlife tourism. Wildlife tourism, the Mala, the Amboseli, the Savos, and look at what happened in the north, isn't it? We are in a time when there will be a lot of, what do we do with wildlife? The availability, the survival of species is a huge debate for us. Also look at the politics of these regions, isn't it? Very vulnerable, very destabilized regions in the north, in the west. We don't have to mention the countries. And you saw what politics can do. Even destinations that are quite stable, like Tanzania, you see what politics. Next year we're having an election. What is likely thing that's going to happen? All these instabilities, those vulnerabilities is what we are referring to as well. The idea is we can't avoid them. They'll always be there. Mm-hmm. But how do we recover as fast as we can in them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And are we having problem as a country addressing these challenges at the moment? Because these organizations are coming up to make tourism stable in a generation where our focus previously was different compared to right now, because what interested the other generations might not be interesting this generation. And with these vulnerabilities in place, are there shifts where the focus is now on this younger generation?
Yeah, the issue has always been travel has always been a middle class thing, and the middle class are more people who are more busy with their lives. There are people who are bringing up families. They're more likely not to travel. The bit is they have the money, but they don't have the time. Surprisingly, the people who have the energy, the youth, do not have the resources. to travel. And so the conversation has always been, how do we engage? How do we do youth tourism, the young people? Recently, we launched our youth tourism policy. There's a draft youth tourism policy which has been developed by the ministry. It's a niche area that we want to develop. We want to say it's possible to develop youth. And surprisingly, the youths are traveling in this country. Over the weekends, you travel, you'll see people are hiking. Youths like the energy sapping kind of things. They want hiking. They want Ganya tourism, the kind of travel you find over the weekends, huge numbers of them in loud music, and they are traveling. They want those kinds of things. But are those products being there? The problem has been we have always relied. Kenya is a destination. You have always relied on the traditional products, wildlife and beach. Looking at it, wildlife, we are getting out competed by the South African countries. They are doing better safaris. I was looking at the statistics for South Africa. Last year they did 8.7. Kenya's barely did 12. And by the way, the leading one in Africa was Morocco, which did 17.5 million. Statistically, the leading one in the world, of course, France. France did 102 million. 102 million. And remember, France has a population of around 70. So more people visited France than the population of that country in terms of numbers. So I want you to compare the statistics we are talking of 102 million with 2.4. While as we are trying to dwell on issues of under-tourism, we are not well visited. The West is dealing with another concept we are calling over-tourism. They don't want more tourists. Communities are rejecting tourism. Communities are saying enough. Cities like Barcelona, cities like Venice in Italy, which are most visited, cities like Rome, they are just saying enough is enough. That's what the concept of tourism. And it's tragic and funny that, well, some of you claim you want more tourists. Some other people are saying, we don't want them. Enough. Yeah.
And what could be leading to this? Is this policy issues? Is it wrong advertisement of whatever we have as a country, or under-advertisement? What is the problem?
It's a question of our source. Which is our source? Our source market is always Europe. Tourism has always been developed. Conservation has been developed, a Western concept. Most of we rely on the US, we rely on UK, we rely on our source market. Our main source markets are in the West. And the question of distance. We rely on long-haul tourists who are willing to visit Africa. How many people want? It's like a question of, I'm given a choice of visiting Naivasha and visiting Kampala. Many people might take Naivasha because it's shorter, isn't it? Remember how many people would want the money possibly to go to Arusha? It could be nearer for them, isn't it? But what if you give them some country like Zambia, which is far? They take the shorter. And that's why you find the North African countries, which are near Europe, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, they are leading in Africa because they rely on that Mediterranean tourism, and many of them can take short distances and travel there. Our source market, the distance. How many tourists are willing to travel to US to Africa? What is unique are they finding? The beach. When you talk about beaches that we have here, they have golden beaches in Caribbean. They are talking of crazy beach of Caribbean. So they might not come. When you talk of wildlife, that's why you find they're visiting more in South Africa. And so it brings a challenge for us as a destination. Again, when you look at it, is well, other countries have also gone the direction of trying to add value to the wildlife experience. What they are doing is wildlife hunting, wildlife consumption. There's a lot of wildlife consumption in some of these countries, and a lot of probably sports tourism, which is not here. So it presents a challenge for people. We are cut off maybe from a cake because some of these policy issues, which maybe should be addressed, as controversial as they are. Yeah.
And Global Tourism Resilience Center. At the moment, this year's conference is in Nairobi. What exactly is the organization bringing, or what relevance is it having for Kenya especially?
Maybe as I answer that project, I could also give a bit of a background to it, that the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management is a center that was established in Jamaica in 2018. around 2019, they established their first center out of Jamaica, which is in Nairobi. So it is domiciled in KU, which is operated by KU and the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. The patron is usually the president. Current the president. The first one was, of course, our former president, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. Currently, the patron is Our Excellency President Ruto, and the Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor is the secretary. The chair of it is usually the Minister of Tourism, the current Honorable Rebecca Miano, who is there. And so that center is here, headquartered at the Directorate. I know many people may not have heard about it. We are dealing with crisis, we are doing resilience. And so this conference, the back to this conference, we have had several conferences in 2012, 2023, 2024, 2025, and we are holding the fourth one in Nairobi, 2025, the Global Tourism Resilience Conference and Expo, which is in Nairobi on 16th to 18th, trying to transform the way we think about, trying to bring action. We are saying tourism resilience in actions. We are moving from crisis response to actions. We are saying we respond, we know the answers, but are we doing anything about it? That is the whole message about this conference, which is starting next Sunday, and Monday it takes off for 3 days. Along it, we will also have a Global Resilience Day, which is 17th February, celebrated internationally.
What different are we expecting this year?
The difference is for the last few ones have been held in Jamaica. It is certain that they did 3 of them. The difference is we are, as a destination, the difference, we are bringing it to Africa, we are giving it a different perspective, we are addressing issues. Remember Jamaica, the issues of France, issues of tornadoes, issues of earthquakes which affect Central America. We are bringing them out to pandemics. We are bringing them to a developing world with issues which they can be able to address. We are bringing them to Kenya, a destination which is known, and we are saying as a Kenyan, we have to take advantage of this and just try to promote this industry.
And they always say that it takes a community to raise a child. Of course, this is something that it takes the whole of the world or the region to, develop resilience muscles when it comes to tourism. But now, how are the public involved in this? Because I understand that researchers are involved, both KU researchers and all that. How are the public involved in this initiative to build tourism resilience?
Ironically, it's an interesting question because tourism has always been owned and managed by outsiders. That's the tragedy of tourism industry. Remember, it came as a Western concept. If you look at the Kenyan tourism industry, it's owned and managed by multinationals. The community, the local communities are never involved in it, isn't it? And so there has always been a skewed community participation in all these things, whereby the government, for example, in the context, people expect. Remember, we come from a background of top-down models, whereby every time you wake up in the morning, Serikali's idea, isn't it? We look at a government that has all answers to a problem, isn't it? Surprisingly, those in governments may not even have answers, isn't it? And we are willing to that. It's very hard to move us from that. Of course, the current constitution, which was launched, has encouraged us to more to down up, isn't it? Whereby communities can be able to make more decisions. And that's why we try to empower the local government and everything else. And so there has always been that skewed way of participation. As much as we'd want communities to make decisions, sometimes they may not have capacities to make those decisions. Decisions happen to be made of them. Illiteracy, technology, awareness, that their way of life, you find that they are disadvantaged. But of course, now what have happened is the communities are involved. There has been a lot of attempts in community participation. We have speakers for these ones. The local communities are engaged. Remember, we have conservancies, we have these domestic tourism associations. We have actual representatives of local in tourism. We are really trying to make tourism local in Kenya, and the several it has been quite successful. Yeah.
Of course, comparing to international and domestic tourism, which one takes the day?
You'll be surprised by statistics, and as much as we rely, it's a question of, it has always been a question of spending power. It has always been a question of spending power. Yeah. How many, do you want more tourists who spend less? Or do you want for fewer tourists who spend more? Isn't it? Remember, we get what we refer to, most of the tourists we get in Kenya are budget tourists. Budget tourists are package tourists who are moving from one place to another, and they usually have little to spend. In fact, they spend bare minimums and they prefer package. Of course, we do get some premium tourists, especially in areas like Kipi, and some exclusive places. There are people who are getting really premium tourists who are good spenders. Yes, I remember sometimes back, this owner of Microsoft came to Kenya, and he picked a facility. Was it in Laikipia or in Masai or Kajiado? And he paid them the Cairo money. He picked it, I think, for 5 weeks, and the Cairo money was given them was crazy amount of money. And so that's what we are referring to. We have premium tourists who come in. Compared to that, anyway, the domestic travel is catching up. Domestic tourism is. Yesterday we had a meeting with even a domestic tourism. We have a domestic tourism association. Domestic tourism association represent all the small actors in this country. We are saying that is the niche areas. We need people to travel. But tragically, Kenyans don't want to go to parks. Kenyans don't want to go to the beach. Kenyans want to do other things, and we are not identifying them. Kenyans want to go off to that Ganya culture. Is it? Kenyans want to. I was speaking yesterday to domestic, and they are telling me of specific sites in this country which have a lot of historical importance, but nobody knows about them because we are all when we want to go to Masai Mara, we want to go to the beach. And if you rely on this, remember Kenya is getting out-competed by the South African countries in terms of safari. Look at our neighbors, Tanzania and Uganda. They are doing equally well, and they're coming in quite stable. Beach tourism, talk of Tanzania and Zanzibar. Talks of Comoros, and says they have taken the little that comes in. Those are the beach destinations of Africa. Who want to ask if one day Somali becomes stable? And it will. Somalia has the longest coastline in Africa, which is not utilized. You can imagine the number of tourists will be going to Somalia in that, and it's a beautiful beach. And so we are saying as Kenyans, we need now to diversify, to move to other products. Products beyond them. We have culture. Today I'm attired in Maasai. The question is, if you ask Kenyans, if you ask anyone coming to, they will think Kenya has only Maasais. Because we only sell Maasais. They don't have, they know there are better cultures. Kenya is known for the Luya, the kind of Luya music which we dance through the school, whatever school competitions. Who knows about that? Who knows about Kisumu? Who knows about Lewis and Kikuyu? What are they offering? I think we need to move it there and then create more creative products for the youths or for the old people, something that appeals to them beyond the wildlife and beach thing.
And the beach. I think for the young people, with this generation, which I'm also in, they are keen on mental health. So something that you'll hear them saying a hidden gem. And then it's maybe a sanctuary somewhere in the middle of a forest, in the middle of a hill, where it's quiet. So away from the bars, the town bars and the noise. That's something that will attract them, because they will create, like, girls groups. They call it galentines and all that. These fun groups, they go and chill. That's what they mostly they will go to that. But now, talking of the youth and involving them might not go without us talking about the digital transformation. How is there any way where the center is harnessing the digital transformation in solving this unforeseeable crisis?
Yeah, we actually, one of our theme areas is digital transformation, resilience, isn't it? And of course, addressing the issues of youth, isn't it? And is a group that is not being well addressed. And you realize the youth technology people have moved on. You stay with youths and you discover you're not speaking to them. You can't be able to speak to youths. They have their own issues, challenges which they face. And the way you are saying, they want unique things. They don't want to do whatever everybody does. We try to harness. We did a good research on digital. We mapped with Esli, geomapping. We did a lot of that. the use of social media, an area that has not been well exploited, isn't it? And by the time you reach the social media and you realize maybe the youth are not consuming what we consume, isn't it? You are taking all the issues to YouTube and everything, and you discover they moved out of Facebook, they moved out of X, and you wonder, where are these people? Where do you ever find them? And youth are ever moving and doing their own stuff, isn't it? I think we need to a better representation to harness their needs. And also, the most challenging bit is, of course, the disposable thing, isn't it? Travel has always been tied to disposability. Do you have disposable income, some extra money that you can be able? And so making travel affordable in this country would be the best thing that is going. Packages that are affordable, packages that address those kind of areas.
I've talked to travel agencies and tourism companies, and they complain of heavy duties, especially on accessing machineries like the tour vehicles, getting licenses, because probably the government thinks these are lucrative investment opportunity. And the thought of you've mentioned of tourists on a budget. So probably that is not factored in. Could that be the problem why we are having less and less tourism in the country because of the duties?
Yeah, it's tourism and austerity is a very unpredictable and a very competitive industry. Look at the licensing regimes, isn't it? For you to run a tourist facility, let me even take a hotel. For you to run a hotel, it requires a huge, sometimes you might even need 12 licenses, public, whatever. The counties there, the Music Copyright Society comes in, isn't it? The public heroes are there with their own ideas, isn't it? Every other requirements for you to the licensing for those facilities. No wonder if you look at the life cycle. Sometimes I know you've looked at life cycle of even areas in Nairobi, isn't it? Clubs come up, it's doing very well. We know, of course, some have survived time. Like Carnival is still there, trying to survive and trying to match the market. But of course, we know what happens. A hotel, a club comes, and we know it. Everybody's going there, and near down the line, you pass there, it's died, and you wonder what's. And people move to the next. The trend is the next one, isn't it? Where are we moving next, isn't it? And they move to a new one, and the old one is left there, isn't it? So investments in tourism industry is very fickle, because it's a very unpredictable, and people have to go and make their money. If you can make your money in 3 years, the better for you, isn't it? After that, when the customer move, they might even move next door to another one that has come up with the same facilities, and so it becomes a big. So investing in it, especially in the industry, it becomes a big challenge. Again, there has always been a question that people ask. Now that you've talked of that investment, is tourism a knowledge industry? For me to learn a clinic or to put up an office, I need to be a practicing doctor. True? That's true. For me to be an architect and practice and have one, every time I enter, even a lawyer's office, most probably behind them, you'll see a big photograph of them. They qualified from Nairobi University, they have this, isn't it? Architects do that, doctors do that, accountants who are just here, isn't it? They did qualification, whatever. The question has also been, for me to learn a hotel, do I need to be a professional? No. As a treasurer for it. And it becomes a quack industry. Everybody can be there, isn't it? You see, I don't have to have anything to learn it. In fact, I can simply put it up and learn it. Is it a knowledge industry? Like architects who do it? Like lawyers? Like engineers? Who need professional? And we really have to raise these issues and professionalize the industry, which is a huge struggle. Which is a huge struggle because everybody is in there, and what's a professionalism in it? Who should be defined as a professional?
So everyone is doing it as business, not as...
Yeah, everybody's doing that. Actually, when one time we have what we call in the industry a tourism professional association. That tourism professional association is there to present professionals. If I was to imagine something like the Kenya Medical and Dentist Association, for you to be a member there are basic qualifications. For me to practice law in this country, I need to have graduate. I need to have under C+, possibly some requirement at that level, practice, and gone to Kenya School of Law.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where I learned law. I could have learned it and haven't. I could have learned it in Nairobi or Mount Kenya. The idea is if I want to practice law in this country, I have to go to Kenya School of Law. Because there's a big debate about it, isn't it? And so they become professional. We recognize them as people who have qualification. We are standardized. And that's what we are saying in ours. If you call now what we call our training professionalization, one time we had a meeting, and you can imagine, you could have managers, international people with all qualification. We could have dancers, they are professionals in it, isn't it? We could have bar people, they are professionals in it, isn't it? We could have any person. And because tourism as an industry is a very complex industry. Everybody says, I'm a member of this.
Okay.
I'm a professional in this industry.
As we bring this to an end, because time is not on our side, so what outcomes should Kenyans expect from this conference? Beyond, the panels and the speeches?
The major outcome for this one is showcasing our destination, bringing those people to Nairobi, really demonstrate that Kenya is not only the safari. Remember, you have been known as the sustainable destination, the safari destination of Africa, isn't it? Now we'll be known as the crisis management. There are people leading crisis management, the best example in Africa. Remember, all over Africa, this is the only center of its kind, which is headquartered here. Kenya has also been known for its sports. Maybe moving away, we can do sports, we can do culture, we can be able to transform. And then at the end of it all, we are going to have some declarations which will be adopted. And these declarations will also be by the United Nations. Those declarations will be able to guide tourism development, maybe for the next 15 or 20 years. The outcome for Nairobi is big. Beyond that, we are the people. We have always been there. So we are actually coming back and saying, Kenya is a destination. This is where we should be. We should be seen. We should be heard. And we are a big, big voice in Africa.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Daktari, for making time for us. We shall be there.
Thank you. For me, the last one, Karibu Sana. Welcome to Nairobi, everyone. Let's be at KICC from 16th to 18th. And we look forward to seeing there. There'll be a lot of exhibitions. There'll be a lot of talks. There'll be a lot of policy issues. There'll be networks. International speakers, local speakers will be there. And we are saying Karibu Sana for the conference.
This also includes, the travel agency, the, tour and
we have the international speakers, all the international United Nations, One Tourism Council. We have all the association are represented, private sectors, state organized, state sagas. We are all there, and communities.
Right. Thank you so much, Daktari. And to our viewers back at home, you understand, like Daktari has said, that this is an industry where you can invest. You may not need professional qualifications. So if you are willing to get all those connections and want to find your way into the industry, it is a good opportunity for you to, go to KICC between the 16th to the 18th before for that conference and get yourself connections for the same. Now that brings us to the end of Biashara Tuesday this morning. Very interesting discussions we've had. If you've missed any of them, from what you need to know, what every entrepreneur need to know in their businesses, and of course tourism resilience in action, you can always follow us. You can always follow the conversation on YouTube at KUTV Kenya. My name is Anyango Sylvia. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning.
Hapa furani